All right, well, it is 10:05. We will call to order the Bingo Advisory Committee meeting for the Texas Lottery Commission. We will begin our meeting with the American Pledge, followed by the Texas Pledge. Also, before we get started, want to make sure everybody understands that if you are going to speak, please come up to the podium so we can make sure we get your voice on the microphone and on the camera, because we are recording today. So we'll start by the American Pledge and Texas Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we're gonna go to roll call. Melody. Here. Tommy Duncan is here. Michael Anastasio is here. I am here. And online we have Corey Harris,
I am here.
Jason Pohl, no, look, he didn't get in. I know he was trying to.
He's muted. No, he's in. I see his number up there.
Is that Jason, the 979 number?
Uh-huh.
Jason, you've got your microphone muted.
I'm here.
There you go. Yes, sir. Good to have you with us. Emil. Can't see that. That number is still up there.
Wasn't that the 337?
Yeah. It is still up there.
I don't see it.
37 number's not there anymore.
It's not. Okay. Okay. All right.
Was for a little bit.
Okay. We'll come back to that then. Veronica. She's trying to sign in. All right, and Will Martin. Will is not going to be with us today.
I don't see him up there.
So Will has been feeling under the weather, so we definitely wish him get well and speedy recovery. Okay, so we're waiting on Emil, Veronica, and Will not be here. Okay, if they get in, I guess it'll notify us. Okay.
Well, it won't make a sound or anything as far as, but they'll pop up on the list.
Okay.
So we can alert your extension so we can call them out.
All right. Okay, moving on to item number 5, meeting minutes from October 12th, 2022. Is there any public comment from the transcripts from that? Okay. Any other comments from that? Any questions? Nope. Would somebody like to?
I motion we accept the county minutes for last time.
All right, have a motion to accept the meetings as printed on the website.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, meeting minutes are approved. Number 6, website review. Corey Harris.
Yes, sir.
Corey, we got your email, and we eagerly await your assessment of the website.
Yes, sir.
And
Well, first, I do want to apologize to everybody for not being in there in person. I had meetings both Monday and Tuesday all day in Austin, so every once in a while I do have to get to work. But I apologize for having to join you all remotely, but thankfully we do have this option. Mr. Chairman, so my assessment of the website, I stated to some of the members, is that functionally there's nothing wrong with the website at all. I do think there's a way that we can make the content more easily available to what certain groups of people are looking for. So my suggestion was, when you go to the landing page of the site, it ought to be divided into two sections, public section and private section. So private being those who are working in the bingo halls or in the gaming industry, and public for anybody looking for information about hosting bingo, attending bingo, rules of public bingo, and our commission and committees information for the public to access. That way we can divide it in half, the amount of time people are looking for things. So if they're having to comb through the website, if you're a public member, you shouldn't have to comb through all the backdoor stuff of gaming regulations, all that kind of stuff that we have to deal with, because that doesn't pertain to you. So we can cut down their search time and maybe get the information they're looking for a little bit faster. One thing we could also look at is the analytics of the site and moving the things that are most frequently searched for to the priority. So a lot of times there's a backdoor tool in web designing where you can see the frequency of a link that's visited. So if the frequently asked questions link is clicked on 562 times a month, you can see that. If the BAC committee minutes is clicked on 3 times a month, you can see that. So we ought to be able to prioritize the things that are most frequently sought out and clicked on, which would again move that information to the front and make it more easily attainable for people looking for it. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's just some ways that we can move the pieces around and perhaps make the website a little bit more user-friendly and put the information that people are most likely searching for to the forefront of the website, so that way they're more likely to find it.
Anyone have any questions on this or anything to add? Melody, anyone?
Yes, I do. Every time you have an audit, they do ask you for all your workers and your operators, a list of all those. They're listed on your website, which is nice. There's no way to print it off. I'd like to have a print button because it got to the point where I was just taking a picture of it and emailing it to my auditor instead of having to write it again and again, because this is information that you've made available, which is real nice.
Mhm.
So my suggestion is, could we just have a print button on that? So I quit sending pictures of the website.
Okay. Thank you, Melody. I'm aware that you've made this request. I've talked to Vivian about it. She had a little explanation for me. Do you remember that explanation you gave me about it? I don't remember all the details of it. There was a security issue. Sorry. The audio is on. Oh. Get the mic. Sorry about that. Sorry. So what I understand is that there's a security issue with that, with making a print button right there. There's also some resource issues with the division. So, we're looking at it. It is certainly on a wish list right now for you. I don't know how soon it can happen. I appreciate the input.
Thank you for looking into it.
Yeah.
I want to support what Corey brought up, that separating what the public has to page through and what we have to page through. I just tried to show a couple of folks how to get to the bingo service portal so they could set up their online accounts and stuff like that. I swear I was 10 minutes looking for where that button was to bingo service portal on that front page. It's real stylized. It's real pretty. Now that I've seen it, I'll go back to it easily again, but I've always been just using the bookmark on my computer. I couldn't find a way on their computer to get to it. So making that a little bit more business-like rather than stylized and pretty, and maybe separating those business things from what the public has to page through might be helpful.
And if I could, just one more comment about that and why this would be extremely beneficial for us to do is because we're talking about an activity that, even though it's a recreational activity, it's a highly regulated activity. And so the public really needs to be able to access the information that they're looking for. If they're looking to host a charity game, attend a charity game, we need to make sure that that information is front and center, foremost. So that way there's transparency on our end, and they know exactly what they're getting into, what they can expect. So it's very important that the public's able to access that information.
And I think that is on the very front page for the public, isn't it? Yeah, so yeah. Good observation, Corey. Any other comments on this at the time? My only comment is that it's difficult to find when we do have a BAC meeting or a commission meeting, we have to, it's a series of finding where to look. And because if you just go to look under news and events, I don't know, maybe it's just me, an event would be a meeting or something like that. That's where I typically go to, and it's taken me a long time to retrain myself to go down to About Us. And yeah, because it fits that category. And
I'm with you on that. I have lost it also, and I'm looking into something. I'm looking into an option, but I got to talk to the folks that could really make it happen.
I know that I know there's some IT issues going on, and they're working on a lot of other things, getting things still moved over. We just wanted to capture this item on our agenda since we're required to. It's in our work plan. We want to make sure we get on this and not leave anything behind. So, but we do appreciate you doing that for us. All right. Any other comments? Public comment?
I think Tracy,
Yeah.
I think Tyler was going to.
Yes, sir.
Trace, not on this, but it looks like Emil's logged in. If we could get him to just state his attendance on the record.
You there, sir?
Emil, I think your microphone is muted. Are you there?
No? Okay.
No, his number is there, but Emil, as soon as you can, please speak up and let us know that you're here for the record.
Okay, if no other comments on the website review, Corey, thank you for doing that. We appreciate the work you did on that. I think you're definitely spot on. We're going to go on.
Thank you for allowing me to serve.
Yes, sir. Let's go on to item number 7, Shutter Card Bingo Systems, Kim Kipling. Kim, you hearing us okay today?
Yes, I do. Just for the record, my name is Kimberly Kipling. I'm an attorney in Austin, Texas, and I represent the petitioners on trying to get proposed rules initiated for public comment. Just for the record, those petitioners were Daniel R. Moore Incorporated, K&B Sales Inc., and Roy Bingo Supplies of Texas Inc. All three are a Texas licensed distributor of bingo equipment. I also represent a manufacturer of a shutter card bingo system, and the records in the past are firm on why he's not, or that manufacturer was not a petitioner. I wanted to express appreciation to the staff for the work that you all have done on these draft proposed rules that are in front of the Bingo Advisory Committee today for their consideration on recommending that the commission vote to approve publication of these rules, proposed rules in the Texas Register for public comment. I also want to put on the record that I have reviewed the rules along with my clients, and we are once again very appreciative of the staff's time putting these together. We look forward to participating in the rulemaking process. We likely will have comments, and I think the best place for that is during the public comment period. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has regarding the process, the proposed rules that we filed with the petition, and then of course the staff's proposed rules.
Thank you, Kim. Does anybody have any questions? Staff have any comments, anything? So basically what we are tasked with doing is, as the BAC, is recommending whether we think these rules should be published in the comment period. Is that correct?
That's
Vetting.
Yeah, that's correct. On Monday at the commission meeting, when you'll give your report for the BAC, one of those items should be whether or not the BAC supports this proposed rulemaking.
Excellent. So we're not voting to approve this. We're voting to send it to the public comment period for the rulemaking process. So just so everybody's clear on that.
So
Okay.
if I could just interject, what we're really doing finally is we're actually trying to move forward to initiate the rulemaking process. And there's several different stages of that. The first is to request that you all, in my view, you all approve moving forward to initiate that rulemaking process, to then have these rules published for public comment, to, receive public comment. So that's that part. And at the commission meeting, we will support staff's recommendation that these rules do get published for public comment in the Texas Register. That's the first part. The next part is the public comment period. Can be no less than 30 days. Generally, and in this case, this is the same. There will be a public comment hearing where people who want to can come in person and comment. People can also submit written comment. And then those comments will all be evaluated by the staff in moving forward to hopefully recommend to the commission that the rules be adopted, a final adoption, either in the stage that they've been proposed or in light of comments, maybe be changed. But right now, what we're trying to do is just move forward to begin the formal rulemaking process. And that's what our ask is of the Bingo Advisory Committee.
Okay. One motion that we move forward to the formal rules process. Is that what you said?
Rulemaking process.
Rulemaking.
I second it.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the rulemaking process going forward. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All, any opposed? None opposed. Emil said that he has logged in, can see and hear us, but he is under anonymous.
He had to log in under anonymous. Can y'all activate him? Or?
Are you?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, excellent. All right, excellent. Upcoming legislative session, Steve Res.
On behalf of the Bingo Interest Group, first I want to say thanks to all of y'all for serving. All of y'all online, all of them here present, taking your time to do this. It's clear to me you're not getting rich by serving on the Bingo Advisory Committee. So thank you for your volunteer work on behalf of the industry. We have had one bill filed in the House by Representative Synfronia Thompson. It's the same bill as passed the Senate committee last session with one change. Instead of raising the prize cap on regular bingo prizes to $3,500 as we would have done last session, we set that amount at $5,000. We have had some feedback at our request from the agency on some items in the bill that could stand some clarification. Steve Finolio and I are working through those. We've communicated to staff that we'll get back to them. In all likelihood, the soonest you could have a hearing on that bill would be 75 days from now. And so we have plenty of time to make whatever changes, and what we would do is make whatever changes might be advisable and put them in a substitute bill to be considered at that committee hearing. And we'll make sure everybody in the industry knows what we're doing while we're doing it. There's been one other bill filed, unless it happened in the last few days. I haven't had time to look at the bill filing list, but it was sort of an omnibus gaming bill, constitutional amendment filed by Senator Carol Alvarado, and I'm going to complete blank to remember the bill number. So we'll keep working with Ms. Thompson's office. We'll have a Senate bill sponsor here shortly. Get the bill filed on the Senate side. We're reaching out to the governor's office to make sure we're keeping them informed of what we're doing and testing the waters there. But they're doing significant reorganization at the staff level up there. Got a great Gardner Pate, a great person to be the new chief of staff up there. And so they're going to be appointing people to have their oversight responsibilities from the governor's office forthwith. I am sure, unless y'all have any questions, that concludes what I had to say.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, excellent. All right, moving on to number 9, old business. Anyone have any old business they want to address at this time? Moving on to number 10, new business. I think there's some new business on the agenda. Emil, are you able to speak yet?
I can speak a little bit on what he was going to talk about.
Okay.
He was talking about subset games. Subset games are already legal in Texas, and they can be approved, whether it be a board game, an individual deal with 10 subsets, 12 subsets, lettered A through L, A through J, and so forth. So the question that was posed to Emil that he emailed all of us is, it's already, you can already do this.
Okay.
But just to add, with the costs going up, I visited 2 of the biggest manufacturers in the last 2 days, got in late last night, trying to lower the cost of our products, seeing what we could do. But I was also privy to seeing some technology that's going on around the country that at some point, us in Texas, we got to really look at this stuff. It's game-changing stuff. We got to come into the 21st century if we're going to say bingo, because we're going to be priced out in the next 2 years. The whole industry.
I could not agree with that more. I mean, I'm looking, if changes aren't made to what we can sell and what we can bring in 3 years from now, there's no reason to do bingo. I mean, I won't have enough money to give away after paying for overhead.
Well, the problem is we're bound by the 35% profit, which is fine. But we're with the rising cost, and we're all going to get another price increase next month. So that's what we have to look forward to. But once we start taking 18 to 20% of the 30 to 35% that these tabs are, you can't afford to operate. That's paper, that's everything.
And the big problem is here, we can't raise our prices without raising our prices. I mean, if you sell a $1 pull tab for $1.25, people will notice and they will be angry.
Well, you can't do that.
I know. I'm just saying, if they just change the prices on there, it's not going to do us any good. If we started selling our paper at a higher cost, it's not going to do any good, because they're going to look at that and say it's still the same $100 price. I'm not playing that game.
No. No.
I certainly sympathize with what you're saying. I really do. I know we're bound a little bit by what we can discuss and what we can't. But I think that
who do we talk to change that?
The legislature, we would have to go.
Well, we got our marching orders from the commission and from the director. Shouldn't we start with meetings with them?
I would have to look at the charge for the bingo advisory committee before we did that. I'm not specifically familiar with our charge, what we can and can't do. But that may be a better question for Tyler.
Sure, your charge.
Put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, part of your charge is to advise the commission on the general state of bingo, economically, legally, in what, if anything, there are things that can be changed by the commission to help you guys out. So if there's anything in the rules, I think though what we're really talking about here is the fact that the prize limits haven't gone up in 20 or 30 years, and your costs and everything have gone up. So we can't raise the prize limit. That's in the act. That has to be done by the legislature. And so the BAC can't really be used to discuss that because there's nothing the commission can do about that. So we would be using commission resources to discuss a solution that isn't within our power. But if there's anything within the rules that you think can help make bingo more profitable without decreasing security or integrity or anything like that, then that's certainly within the purview of this committee and the staff.
So if it was something that wasn't currently legal, but it increased security or integrity of the game, that would be something that we could possibly discuss later on down the line.
Possibly, depending on if it's clearly legal and authorized within the Bingo Enabling Act currently. If there's something it's not legal within the act, there's nothing we can do about that. That's more of a Steve Breslin issue.
Gotcha.
That needs to be changed at the legislature. And so the BAC.
Here we stay on task and don't get.
Right. Well, can you tell me if it was legislatively approved that bingo paper went to card minders? How did that transpire? Are you familiar with that?
That bingo paper went to card minders?
Yeah, we used to play on bingo paper. Then when card minders came out, all we did was transfer the bingo paper to the card minder.
Computer. That's not what.
Hello?
I mean,
I believe that was the deal.
You finally got it.
Emil, are you on, buddy?
I'll say the card minders are in the act. So they were at some point the Bingo Enabling Act was amended to allow for card minders. I wasn't around back when that happened, but I would imagine before they would have been illegal or at least highly controversial. And so, at that stage, it took legislative action to clearly authorize the use of electric card minders.
So to amend the Bingo Enabling Act has to be done legislatively.
Correct. Yeah, and in general, state agencies under which you guys fall, and we all fall obviously, aren't allowed to do any kind of lobbying activity towards the legislature to change laws. We only have authority over the rules. So if there's anything within the rules that you see that you think can be changed, that's open for discussion.
Which brings me to my next question. A couple of years ago, you sat in, Kim sat in. We did a rulemaking process. Is that coming up again in 23?
Every 4 years we do a
Every 4 years.
review. Yeah.
Emil.
There he is.
So I think it was only, Kim, do you remember that? I think it was only a couple of years ago. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? We all sat in the room and made some rules changes.
Yeah.
To answer that question, I
Look it up. I mean, it's,
That started right before COVID.
I'm
And
sorry,
then
it
we-
was muted.
it was 18 or 19.
Yeah. I think it started in 19.
23 would be 4 years.
Well, the agency is required to conduct a review of its administrative rules every 4 years. And that's the rule review process. That might be what you're referring to. That's
Yes.
not exclusive to opportunities to amend rules or propose rule amendments, just, without having to go through the rule review. So there was a rulemaking that occurred some time ago, and that had to do with bringing the customer accounts into card mining systems in particular. And then I believe the video display of a pull tab. And that's, as we know, it's a little bit more limited because we had a subsequent rulemaking where we wanted it to be a much broader brush on video display of all pull tabs, and that rulemaking did not transpire into adopting amendments. So I'm not sure if that's what you were thinking about, but that's what I recall. And my memory's starting to get fuzzy, so there are other people in the audience that can step on me if I'm wrong on that.
I do remember that, Kim. I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
I think you were there too, Melody.
Yes.
We went through every rule
We did.
from the 400
mhm.
in the full tab rule.
Yes.
See if any of them words could be changed.
And I will give them this, they did change to where we could have temporaries on demand.
They did.
That was one of the rules, and that took a while. It took a minute.
Well, I was just wondering when we can do that again.
Tomorrow.
Well, I think.
Yeah, like Kim points out, you guys can always bring up
Anytime.
any change to the rules. So we do that systematically. Every agency has to do that to their rules every 40 years. But if there's any rule that you guys ever want to consider, you bring it up. And if BAC recommends changing it, Trace can recommend it to the commissioners can tell me to do it. That's how the process works. Of course, within the limits of your guidance that was provided for your annual guidance, to stay within the framework of what the BEA provides and more importantly does not provide for.
Absolutely.
Well, this is very serious. I mean, a few minutes ago, Glenn, who is my distributor, just showed me a sheet of paper which said, hang on, we're going to go up again, what, 10 to 15%, 15%?
Yes, they're not 3 and 5% anymore. They're 10 to 15, 18.
And that's after they've already gone up. This is a very, it's shocking.
Lynn, would you like to come speak on this?
Thank you, Trace. For the record,
Incidentally, before you say, Will Martin is on, he's under anonymous, but he is,
Oh, good.
listening and watching.
we understand Veronica is on.
Veronica is on as well. Excellent.
For the record, my name is Glenn Goulet. I'm the president of K&B Sales, Good Time Action Games. And what Melody was referring to, and I think Tommy was referring to, all of the distributors here in Texas and probably across the country, let me just say, not probably across the country, but across the country, have been receiving both phone calls and actual letters, emails, talking about further price increases. And I've highlighted one sentence here. I think it's very important. And this is all the manufacturers. This is not one, however, this letter is from one. They say this increase will be significant as the pace of the increases we are receiving on raw material and labor have greatly outpaced what we experienced in the past. So to give a percentage, Melody, they haven't given us a percentage that says this will go up X percent and this product will go up Y percent, but you are correct in that these increases will go up in the 10% range. And this is just effective January 1st. But this is not just the first price increase that charities and the operators have seen this year or the past 2 years. These increases have gone up numerous times. So that's, hopefully that answered the question, more clarity to it.
Well, it's getting to the point where you have, sell this, you have a 30% profit. We don't have that anymore. We're going down to a 20, even 15% profit on what we sold before. And the other costs are just going up. Plus, I know this really only affects me in Dallas and maybe Trace, but WinStar started up again. They had 450 people there Friday, Saturday, Sunday playing bingo.
It affects every market. They're everywhere. Now we have 3 tribes in Texas that got to go ahead to run full-blown high-stakes bingo, casinos. They're building buildings to play $1,000 bingo games, $10,000 bingo games. We're going to have to come into the 21st century if we want to compete, or like I said, they're just going to run us out.
Hey, don't leave out the affected military bases. Fort Hood gives away $10,000 every Saturday and Sunday.
That's true. That is true.
Thank goodness most of our customers can't get to Fort Hood.
And the state of Texas gets none of that money from the tribes or the armed services.
I'm just curious, Tyler, or anybody, I know the scratch offs are a huge seller for the lottery. Are they experiencing the same price increases that bingo is?
On the price of
Any idea?
purchasing tickets, I'm not sure about that. I would assume so, but I don't have data on what if the costs are rising for production of scratch tickets.
Is it?
I would guess,
Do
yes.
you know if it's public data that we can look at that like it is for bingo?
I suspect
Not
that
on the spot. I'm just asking broad-based questions here. I'm not.
I would expect that our general expenses are public information, but again, I'm not sure.
Just curious what
Into that.
I was trying to look at maybe a comparison between what the price increases for scratch offs and maybe pull tabs or maybe even bingo paper was, what the increases were. Maybe to have a comparative note. Back in my mind. Okay, well, thank you, I appreciate that. Any other new business, any other public comment?
I have one thing that I'd like to put on the agenda for our next meeting.
Yes,
And that's, training, both at the portal and possibility of in-person training. I'm going, helping people do the training that they need to stand up the bingo operation right now.
So are you talking about the operator training?
Operator training, the required training.
Yeah, that's the operator training. Okay.
But I don't have their feedback yet. By the end of next week, I will probably have all of their feedback and stuff. We can bring it up then. I can let you guys know what I
Excellent.
get from them.
We don't currently do any, the staff doesn't currently do any in-person training anymore, do
It's
they?
all online.
It's all online.
Was that just suspended because of the COVID, or was that just decision made not to do it anymore?
So that was before my time. My understanding is that it was suspended for COVID. And of course, it's quite a budget issue. So I would have to look at, you
Yeah,
know,
if memory serves me correctly, they had some serious budget cuts about significant, for the bingo division. And it was easier for people to go online and do it. There was less hassle. I know there was a lot of issues with.
for 7, you know, schedule it, all that.
And there was issues with people getting their certificate after they had completed it. If they lost it, there wasn't a good record or something. That was a long time ago, but yeah, I think it was due to budget cuts. But yeah, we'd be glad to put that on the agenda for next time. Talk about that.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to have information from the people that took the training program?
Yes,
Is
that's,
that what you're going?
that's what I'm gathering, is people who are pretty new to bingo, going through the training program and then giving me feedback on what it was that they got out of it and what they might need.
No, it's pretty nice, but I mean, when we do it, I mean, it's just the same thing for 30 years.
Right.
So it'd be nice to hear somebody new wondering what, you know, bingo's very confusing now.
That's why I want to talk about it next meeting.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Happy to get the feedback.
All right, if no other or public comment, we're going to move on to number 11, set the date for the next meeting. The next date has already been more or less set, which would be the 10th of February.
February 10th is a Friday,
Yes, it is.
scheduled to be in this room at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
The commissioners are meeting on the 15th.
correct.
But February 10th is the closest and before their meeting that we could get a
Sure.
room.
Does anybody have an issue with the 10th of February?
All right.
Okay, we'll set it for the 10th of February at 10 a.m. right here at 1700 Congress.
I'm sorry, did you say that was February the 10th?
Correct, sir.
Okay, and that'll be at 10 a.m., I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. I will be in Austin on February the 10th, about 3 blocks from where you're sitting right now for another meeting.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Right. Any other comments? All right, we will adjourn this meeting at 10:45. Thank you all, and we will see you in February.